they had their camp in a town called Kara, a village called Kara. Kara is now in Togo. So when the Germans were based in Togo, they then advanced to the Concomba lands. And the Concomba lands, those of us who knows there, or anybody who is watching me and don't know, I want to draw a bit or a map about the Concomba lands. When you get to Nalo, you get to Nalo, and then you get to Saboba. These are the areas of you get to Nalo, Nandita, Saboba, Sunsong, and then you get to Yajo, Wapuli. Yajo, that this day they call Savelugu, it's never Savelugu. The original name is Yajo. You come to Chal, and then part of the Eastern Corridor. You are coming to Sanguli, Tatali area. Then you come to Cap, where Basaris, our brothers, dominate. And then you get to a place called Ibubu. These are our lands. We were there. We were the occupants of these lands. And we are still the occupants of these lands. And will continue to be the occupants of these lands. Now, when the Germans came, they had a lot of resistance from our people. That is the Concombers. And it will interest you to know that the Concomba land is the first place in the country where we had a machine gun was shot first. Yes, it was on our land that machine gun was first shot in this particular sub-region. That is, I'm talking about the entire West Africa. And there were a lot of atrocities. And we, the Concombers, were the victims. Upon all this, our people defended our lands, and they are still defending the land. We were the occupants of those areas. Now, Germans had a way of controlling our people. When Germans were controlling the place, the British never got to that particular territory. British were somewhere around the, what do you call it? They were around Saliga, Tamale area. They never advanced to the areas I've just spoke about. So, fast forward, there was a First World War, and the British, France, managed to defeat the Germans. Okay. What did they do? Normally, those days, when you defeat somebody, you take over their colony. So the British and the French decided to divide the colony of the Germans after they left. That is our lands now into two. So that is how come you get or you see Concombers, some of them in Ghana, and then others in Togo. It is not that Concombers migrated from Togo to Ghana. So anybody who is quite ignorant about this very history, and then they try to say Concombers are Togolese, they moved all the way from Togo to Ghana. That is never true. When they partitioned the place, you realize that part of our lands, which is now Ibubu, where I said the first, what do you call it, machine gun was first shot, it is now in Togo. Okay. The partitioning was done somewhere around 1928, 1929, thereabout. 1928. So it was divided between the French and then the British. Okay. Fast forward, when that partitioning was done, the British now took over their part after the division. So because they were already with the Dogombes, they were actually ruling them through the indirect rule. So because they took over from the Germans, they now, administrative-wise, put Concombers under the Dogombes in the name of indirect rule. Okay. So wherever they advance and then they see that Concombers are dominating, then they try to plant some of the Dogomba chiefs over there. For example, you see Jagbir, where we call Jagbir, they call Jagbele, you see a Dagomba chief there. I will come back to that, maybe probably in another episode. So after all what they've done to us, and after all what, even the Dagombes are banking their hope on a particular historian who wrote about the settlement of people. His name is Mr. Ferguson. But then he was with the British, not with the Germans. Okay. So when they wrote about the settlement of the people who owns where, because he didn't come to, they were referring to our area, hinterland. But then there was nothing like the British, there was nothing like Gold Coast, nothing like Togo. The whole place was combined. So now that the people left, and then we were now under the British rule, eventually Ghana obtained independence. And then there was a referendum for us to vote as to whether it would be part of Ghana or part of Togo. Gladly, the Concombers and the Vasari voted to be part of Ghana, and then the rest too was in Togo. Now, my appeal to the National House of Chiefs, the Parliament of Ghana, and then the Attorney General, which I am reliably informed that the document is before the National House of Chiefs, is they should call the Gombes, their leadership, let them know that portions that I've just mentioned, they should take off these particular portions out of their constitution before giving them the legal backings.
Okay.
If not, the governments are going to face serious resistance from our people. I can bet them that. As I speak to you, the document, I'm reliably informed, it is before the National House of Chiefs. Okay. From there, it will then come to Parliament. And then through the Attorney General, they'll have legal backings for it to come into operation. So with these portions, if they don't let the governments take it off, they are going to face a lot of resistance from concumbents and the bursaries. That one I can bet you. We were concumbents and we were the occupants of those lands. We are still concumbents. We are occupying those lands. Okay. And we will still continue to occupy those lands. There is no way somebody can come to tell us that we don't have lands. They own that place. Never. I don't even want to come to the